As I boarded the train in Hamburg, Germany, bound for Slovenia, I felt a sense of excitement and anticipation building within me. The train journey would take me through the picturesque landscapes of Austria and into the heart of Slovenia, a country I had always wanted to visit. As I settled into my seat and watched the passing scenery, I found myself reflecting on why I love to travel. For me, travel is not just about visiting new places and experiencing different cultures, although those are certainly important aspects. It's also about stepping outside of my comfort zone, challenging myself and expanding my horizons. Traveling to new destinations allows me to break out of my routine and see the world from a different perspective. It's a chance to learn about history, art, cuisine, and customs that are vastly different from my own, but perhaps most importantly, it's an opportunity to connect with people from all walks of life, to make new friends, and to discover that we are all more alike than we are different. As the train journey came to an end, I stepped off onto Slovenian soil with a sense of excitement and anticipation for what lay ahead. The sights and sounds of the city were quickly left behind as I ventured into the great outdoors, where I was greeted with the tranquil beauty of the lush forest that surrounded Ljubljana. The sweet scents of the countryside filled my nostrils, and the only sounds were the rustling of leaves and the occasional bird song. With every step, I felt a deeper connection to the natural world and the incredible journey that lay ahead. I soon found myself setting up camp in a peaceful clearing surrounded by majestic trees, ready to prepare a creative meal in my clay pot from South India. The fresh ingredients sizzled and crackled as they cooked on my outdoor camping cooker. This was just the beginning of my journey, as I was eager to explore more of the country's natural beauty. And so, with my backpack slung over my shoulder, I set off on a 2-day hike to the Krn Mountain, standing tall at 2244 meters. The hike was challenging, but every step was worth it. The beauty of the Slovenian countryside was breathtaking, and I felt humbled by the vastness of the mountains around me. As I wound my way through the breathtaking scenery, my thoughts were drawn to the stories of the First World War, when this very area was a site of fierce fighting. I couldn't help but marvel at the contrast between the peaceful, natural beauty of the present and the brutal violence of the past. After completing the hike, I was so moved by the experience that I visited the museum in Kobarid, dedicated to World War I. I felt it was important to gain a deeper understanding of the region's history and the sacrifices made by those who fought for their country. The museum was a fascinating and sobering reminder of the impact of war on the people and the land. But even amidst the memories of war, the natural beauty of the Krn Mountain was simply awe-inspiring. With each step I took, I felt more connected to the earth and the natural world around me. I was able to marvel at the stunning vistas that surrounded me and to appreciate the beauty of nature in a way that is all too rare in our fast-paced modern world. As the sun began to set, I found a perfect spot at the edge of the mountain to set up my tent. With the stars shining bright above me, I cooked a warm meal and settled in for a cozy night of rest. The next morning brought a cold and misty sunrise, but the beauty of the moment made it all worth it. With a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment, I continued my hike, taking in the stunning vistas that surrounded me. The air was crisp and fresh, and I felt alive in a way that is difficult to describe. For me, this journey was not just about experiencing the beauty of Slovenia's natural world, but also about finding balance and joy through sports and fitness. The combination of physical activity and natural surroundings made for a perfect recipe for happiness and peace. I woke up to a beautiful morning with the sun shining brightly, beckoning me to explore the stunning nature that surrounds the Soča Valley. I eagerly set out on my adventure, ready to discover the hidden treasures that awaited me in the verdant forests. The gentle breeze carried the sweet fragrance of wildflowers with which the local people love to prepare tea with, and are also known to have medical properties. I walked across the river and through the lush foliage, basking in the breathtaking scenery. The following day was a bit cloudy, but I didn't let that dampen my spirits. My journey took me to rivers and waterfalls, where I marveled at the raw power of nature. In particular, I was drawn to the area under Krn Mountain, where hidden springs, pools, and waterfalls awaited me. One of the highlights of my trip was discovering the Trenta waterfall. Standing at an impressive 104 meters tall, it is one of the highest waterfalls in Slovenia. The water here is from such high quality that I couldn't resist taking a sip. It tasted as refreshing as it looked. Following my time exploring the Soča Valley, I decided to hike around the Tolminka Gorge. The word gorge hardly does justice to the sheer beauty of this place. As I ventured deeper into the gorge, I discovered a wealth of sightseeing opportunity. The hot water spring, the Bearhead and the Devil Bridge were among the highlights. The Bearhead in particular caught my eye. It was a natural bridge with an abundance of growing and blooming vegetation, creating an enchanting atmosphere that left me feeling as though I had been transported to another world. As the day drew to a close, I sat by the fire and pondered the meaning of life on this beautiful earth. The Tolminka Gorge had left me feeling humbled and inspired, reminding me of the incredible power of nature to renew and transform us. It was a reminder that we are just a small part of something much greater than ourselves, and that we should cherish and protect this natural wonderland with all our might. As I continued to explore the stunning natural wonders of Slovenia, I realized that summer was slowly giving way to autumn. Nevertheless, I remained determined to make the most of my time in this incredible country, no matter the weather. One day, I set out to visit the breathtaking Malinšek waterfall, the sight of the water cascading down the rocks. I heard about Šmarna Gora, a must-visit place in Ljubljana that offered a stunning view of the surrounding Alps. As I made my way up the mountain, I encountered an abundance of mushrooms, apples, and insects. There were old castle-like buildings that now served as a restaurant with refreshments, as well as a bell that was said to make your wishes come true. After ringing the bell, I started to feel hungry and decided to cook a meal in my clay pot.
Now I put the oil.
As time passed, the surrounding leaves were starting to change colours, a sure sign that autumn was on its way. However, the ginkgo tree, which is ubiquitous in Ljubljana, remained green for a long time, a symbol of resilience and perseverance. Slovenia is a country filled with tunnels and caves, and the Soča Valley is no exception. One of the most interesting stories I heard while exploring this area was about the legendary cave on the way to Mrzli, literally translated as the Cold Mountain. This cave was once the home of a man and his dog for over 40 years. What makes this story even more fascinating is that the man was also there during the First World War near the Isonzo front line. Sadly, he died in a snow avalanche, but his dog was able to come to the nearby village and alert the villagers for help, although it was too late. Once Tamara and I reached the top, we sat on the grass and enjoyed a small meal of homemade bread, salami and cheese, while taking in the stunning views of the surrounding landscape. Walking through the rain is a unique experience. It feels refreshing and cleansing, as if nature is washing away all the stress and worries of daily life. The sound of the raindrops hitting the leaves, the ground and the streams creates a peaceful melody that soothes the mind and soul. The water gushing through the forest streams creates a musical symphony that blends with the sound of the rain. During one of my walks, I stumbled upon a lonely hut in the middle of the forest. It was a welcomed sight, as the rain was pouring heavily and I needed shelter. Inside the hut, I found a cozy spot where I could light up my outdoor cooker and prepare another tasty dish. It was an unexpected and pleasant surprise. Later in the day, as we were walking back home, the rain stopped and the sky cleared up, revealing a beautiful sunset. Moments like this remind me of the beauty and magic that nature has to offer. It was a perfect end to a day filled with rain, adventure, and new experiences. As I listened to the locals talking about the beauty of Iška Valley, I knew I had to visit it. I arrived in the evening, ready for a night hike with headlight. and the determination to cross the cold river to find a place to set camp. I felt a sense of peace and tranquility that only the wilderness can bring. There's something about being in the wild that allows you to feel alive in a way that is different from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. It's as if nature invites you to be present, to forget about everything else, and simply be in the moment. As I made my way back to Soča Valley, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement for what was to come. The emerald blue waters of the river were still as breathtaking as ever, and the surrounding nature was just as stunning. I decided to explore some of the caves and tunnels that lined the riverbank. I came across a sight that left me in awe, the Kozjak waterfall in Kobarid. The waterfall was nestled in a cave-like environment with layers of earth and stones lining the walls. The water cascaded down into a crystal-clear pool below, creating a serene yet powerful scene. I spent some time taking in the beauty of the waterfall, allowing myself to be fully present in the moment. As I hiked towards the majestic Boka waterfall in Bovec, I was surrounded by the breathtaking beauty of the forest. I could hear the sound of the water from the waterfall from a distance, and as I got closer, the sound grew louder and more powerful. The water was cascading down from a height of over 106 meters. I could feel the coolness of the water on my face, and the sound of it falling was music to my ear. On another day, I planned to visit the megalithic circle. It was a reminder that there is so much more to this world than what we see on the surface. The megalithic circle under the Krn Mountain was discovered by local farmers some years ago. It was said that the animals were avoiding this area, which prompted the investigation that led to its discovery. As the sun began to set, the colours in the sky shifted from bright oranges and pinks to deep purples and blues. The snow on the ground glittered in the fading light, and the wind howled through the valley. Some days later, we woke up for our next adventure towards Mrzli, another hill called the Cold Mountain. The snow was deep and the path was not very visible, but I followed my instincts and made my way through the forests and leftover tunnels from the First World War. The trees were covered in snow, and the whole forest looked like a winter wonderland with the soft light from the fog lying in the trees. As we trekked through the forest, I couldn't help but think about the history of the area. The Isonzo front line, a series of battles fought between the Italian and Austro-Hungarian armies during World War I, took place in this very region. The front line was strategically important as it marked the border between Italy and the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and both sides fought to gain control of the region, which was also a key supply route for troops and supplies. The battles along the Isonzo River lasted for over 2 years, from 1915 to 1970, with a total of 12 battles fought along the front line. The difficult terrain, characterized by steep mountains, deep gorges and narrow valleys, made it challenging for troops to move and fight. Despite the obstacles, both sides fought fiercely, and the battles along the Isonzo River were some of the deadliest of the First World War. As we continued our trek, I couldn't help but think about the bravery and endurance displayed by the soldiers who fought in this area. The battles along the Isonzo River also saw the use of innovative military tactics and technologies. The Italian army used flamethrowers and gas attacks during the battles, while the Austro-Hungarians used a network of tunnels and trenches to protect their positions. As we reached the top of the hill, I was welcomed by the most breathtaking view. Standing above the clouds, I could see for miles around me the snow-covered mountains and forests. It was a surreal experience, and we felt grateful for being able to witness such a stunning view. As we returned to my home in the mountain village, I started a fire and sat by the warmth, rewarding myself with a cup of hot chocolate. The snow was still falling outside, and I felt grateful for being able to experience the magic of winter in Soča Valley. On Christmas Day, we went to explore the emerald blue Zavica waterfall, which is a must-see inn at the Bohan village. On the way, people were greeting with Merry Christmas and a smile on their faces. The water is cascading down from a height of 78 meters. Today we plan to visit a location not far away from the Soče spring, but a bit more up in the mountains, the Krn Lake. The journey began in Lapina, Bovec area, by the Soča River. It took me around 3 hours of walking through the snow-covered terrain until we reached. I finally reached the ice-covered lake. Surrounded by fully white mountains and buffeted by strong winds, it was really a glorious moment. Hungry from the long hike, I immediately started to prepare our own chapati and traditional South Indian pepper chicken. The delicious aroma of the food filled the air, and the taste was an unforgettable joy. After my meal, I rested in my hammock before finding a spot to set up camp. As the sun set, I took time to reflect on the past year and make plans for the future, and make a small bonfire to stay in the nature to enter into the new year with good energy. At the next morning, we woke up to witness a beautiful sunrise. We continued our adventure to Lužnica Lake. As the sun slowly began to rise over the jagged peaks and snow-capped mountains, one is struck by the immense beauty and glory of nature. The interplay of light and shadow, the changing colours of the sky, and the gentle rustling of the wind through the trees all combine to create a sense of awe and wonder that is difficult to express in words. Time seemed to fly by, but the memories of this trip were unforgettable.
Super delicious. Look.
Despite the cold winter weather, there were still plenty of sunny days to enjoy in the mountains. The weather in Slovenia can be unpredictable, but this winter seemed to be different. I was surprised, But already in February it was warm enough to sit outside in just a t-shirt. The sun was shining brightly, and the air was filled with a sense of joy and excitement. It was the perfect day to spend by the Soča River and indulge in some delicious food. As I savoured each juicy bite, I couldn't help but feel grateful for this moment of pure bliss. After lunch, I decided to take a walk along the riverbank. The river was still icy cold, but the warmth of the sun made it bearable to walk without a jacket. As the winter slowly transitioned into spring, I couldn't help but reflect on the cycle of seasons and time. It's fascinating to see how things go in a circle, yet every time it's different. One tradition of the people at the Soča Valley inspired me a lot. It was the celebration of Pust, an old custom that aims to bring joy and call forth the arrival of spring. Every village in the Soča Valley has its own unique version of the celebration. In the village of Vršno, this tradition is still very much alive, and it's always a fun and festive time. Velika Planina was the perfect place to end my Slovenian adventure. The mountain cottages were like something out of a storybook, and the grass-covered plateau gave the area a surreal, almost magical quality. I left Slovenia feeling inspired and invigorated, eager to share my experiences with others and to encourage them to explore the world around them. My short videos and photos captured the essence of my journey, and I hoped that they would inspire others to embark on their own adventures, to leave their own footprints on the world.